Am I the a-hole for refusing to keep a low profile of my recent engagement and refuse to come without him to mother's birthday to accommodate a jealous sister? My sister, 28 female, who has always been spoiled and cuddled by my parents, was dumped by her long-term boyfriend for another woman after he graduated from medical school this past summer. When she was looking forward to being a doctor's wife, thinking she'd be bathing in rubies and pearls, and then proposed to that woman after only a few months. I, 36 female, just got engaged to my better half, 43 male, 2 weeks ago. My sister is insanely jealous and competitive. She always has to be first and always has to win. I expected she'd be jealous but grossly underestimated it. She was apparently so overcome with grief, she had a nervous breakdown and had to be hospitalized and then move back home with my parents. My parents have asked me to keep a low profile, have canceled my engagement party that was their idea until further notice, probably forever, and to come alone to my mother's birthday in a few weeks and leave my ring at home. They love fiancé, so it's not that they don't approve of the relationship. This was just to accommodate my sister. I said we are now a package deal, and if he's not welcome, I'm not coming, and I absolutely will not take off and hide my ring like some dirty little secret. And I told them they are uninvited from my wedding, and we are going no contact until they tender a sincere apology and revoke this ridiculous rule of keeping a low profile. I also said if this standoff goes through the wedding, we are going no contact for good. I've never missed a parent's birthday, so my dad is angry with me. And I called him a hypocrite because he wants no contact with his parents for excluding my mother over religious differences. He insists this is different, and I said no, it's not, because he's expecting me to do something to my fiancé that he'd never do to his wife. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Info: are your parents also getting divorced to make things easier for your sister? Must be hard for her to be confronted with people who have been together for so many more years than her own relationship lasted. Of course not. Well, you should ask them too, since the sister can't be around people in loving relationships. Not the a-hole. If happy moments in your life trigger severe mental health issues for your sister, that is absolutely a problem that needs to be examined. Harsh though it may sound, on some level, her struggles are her own, and it's not really reasonable to expect you to prioritize avoiding inadvertently triggering her in every situation. When my husband and I got engaged, we had lunch with his sister and a few friends the next day. At some point, his sister said unprompted that we would have to stop mentioning our engagement now because it would make other people unhappy. It's been nearly 8 years, and I'm still mad I didn't have the wherewithal to say something to her about it then. Yes, it absolutely was indicative of larger problems on the horizon. I suspect this will go against the grain, but no a-holes here. Your sister has had a nervous breakdown that required her to be hospitalized. She's not being dramatic or dying in a hill for the sake of it. She was almost institutionalized. I don't have the expertise to judge her for that. Your parents are focusing their resources and effort with their child who was hospitalized. It's desperately unfortunate for you, and you have every right to feel hard done by when this is your time, and every right to take a stand for your fiancé, but your parents are not a-holes for this. They have a deeply unwell child. That has to be their focus. They are being unfair for trying to enforce a stricture on how you must behave, and you are in the right to defend your fiancé. But I can't in all honesty label them a-holes for trying to avoid triggering their daughter who's just had a nervous breakdown. It sounds like you all need some cool-off time. I'm specifically putting aside the obvious competition issues between you and your sister. You make it out like it all stems from her, but you appear to be minimizing her nervous breakdown, again, for which she was hospitalized. They don't do that for no reason. I think there's some mutual toxicity between you and your sister, and that's causing you to center yourself and your engagement in this dispute. It's not about you. Your sister is mentally unwell. You're allowed to be upset that you can't have the focus when you just got engaged, and to defend your fiancé. Your parents are allowed to think that protecting the daughter who's had to move home with them is the priority. Edit. The way you're talking about your sister's mental health issues in the comments is pushing you closer into a-hole territory, to be honest, OP. Your obvious relationship issues with your sister doesn't invalidate her nervous breakdown. You tell OP that her sister's mental breakdown is not about her, but you should really be telling this to the sister. Sister's relationship troubles have nothing to do with OP's engagement, and it wasn't OP who tangled the two issues. It was the sister and her parents. The parents don't just focus their energy on their sick kid, as you say. They expect their other kid to not live her own life in a very normal way to appease her sister's mental illness. I highly doubt that this will support the sister's recovery. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for publicly sharing my pregnancy and saying I don't care about my sister's miscarriage? I, 27 female, am pregnant with my first child. As expected, I am very happy, and I'm sharing news of my pregnancy on Facebook as I have several family members who live overseas. And also, I want to. This is my first child and I'm beyond happy. The issue is my older sister, 29 female, who is infertile and has given up on children after 9 miscarriages. I and my sister have never had a good relationship. She was sick as a baby and nearly died. The trauma of it caused my parents to favor her and place her above me, and I was always expected to make myself as small as possible to accommodate her. She always got cake and more presents on my birthday so she wouldn't feel left out. I was told to hide my grades as she did very badly at school. I was also not allowed to display any trophies in my room because she might see them and get upset. My sister 100% leaned into this and made my life hell. She would make stuff up so my parents would take stuff from me and give it to her. I was even told to not go to my prestigious university, think Ivy League in my country, because it would upset her. When I chose to go, my parents cut me off, which was fine as my paternal grandparents who pretty much raised me took care of everything. Since then, I have been low contact with my family and only see them around a holiday at my grandparents' place. They weren't even invited to my wedding. When I got pregnant, I shared the announcement online and everybody congratulated me, except my parents and sister, who harassed me and reported my post so it would get taken down. I just blocked them all. I saw them again on New Year's at the grandparents' place, and when they saw me, my sister started screaming at my grandparents, saying how could they invite me after what I did to her. She was also screaming at my belly as if it offended her. She kept crying and saying how could I do this to her. I told her I did nothing to her. She went on and on about her miscarriages and how hard they were on her, but I snapped and told her I don't care. She's not my sister. She's my bully who tormented me my whole life. I owe her nothing. My life has nothing to do with her. This got my parents mad and they screamed at me too. My uncles ended up throwing them out and it ruined a party. My family said I did nothing wrong, but my parents' and sister's friends have been mass reporting my Facebook account until I ended up deleting it. Not the a-hole, and it sounds like you need to go from low contact to full no contact. Your pregnancy has nothing to do with her, and she needs to grow up. Your parents have enabled her to play the victim for her whole life. You don't need to contribute any time and attention to that. I only saw them during the holidays at my grandparents' place, but I don't think I can anymore. Not for me, but for my kid. I don't want her exposed to that. Definitely not, and you'd never be able to leave her in a room with them, even for a toilet break. They'd find ways to weasel in and manipulate her. Nothing sucks more than having to go no contact, but it sounds like this option causes less pain and stress for everyone. Best of luck with the rest of your pregnancy. I hope you celebrate and enjoy it well. And enjoy being a mother. Surprisingly, not the a-hole. Your parents sound like they groomed your sister to act like that, so ultimately they are the ones you should direct your anger towards. However, your sister being offended at you getting pregnant is completely childish and rude. I'm sure she had a really hard time emotionally with those 9 miscarriages, and my heart definitely breaks for her. But you are bringing a life into this world. She should be happy and try to mend things with you, in my opinion. It's more than unfortunate that your parents enabled her behavior and brought her up to be so entitled. Ultimately, though, she will have a harder life because of that if she doesn't already. I think you should take solace in that and potentially forgive her for what she has done to you in the past. If not for her, but for you. Your parents are complete a-holes, and they should 100% be to blame for this all, I think. Cutting you off because you went to college? It seems like they set you up for failure and you ended up thriving, so you should be very proud of yourself. They also pit you both against each other from the moment you were born, so it would be great if you and your sister could reconnect and not give them the satisfaction of that working. I have many sisters myself, and my dad definitely played favorites on my younger sister. But ultimately, we were able to bond through negative experiences facilitated by both my parents. I'm wishing that for you, or at least peace. Last story. Am I the a-hole for skipping my stepdaughter's wedding? I, 50 female, have 2 stepchildren. Sarah, 23 female, and Mike, 28 male. I have been in their lives since Sarah was 2. Sarah's mom, Kate, was a drug addict, and when Sarah was 3, she lost all her parental rights because of her addiction. Kate left after that, and didn't have any contact until Sarah was 17. That's when Kate reached out to us, saying she was clean and wanted a relationship with the kids. My husband, Rob, was against this, but I wanted to give her a chance. We met with her and it turns out she had been clean for a while, going to therapy and had a decent job. Mike was against meeting her, and to this day insists I'm his only mom and Kate is dead to him. Sarah was more open to Kate though, and resented Mike for rejecting her. I explained that Mike was older and witnessed Kate at her worst, so he has a different relationship with her, while Sarah only remembers her after getting clean. This issue still caused a lot of resentment between them and me. Kate blamed me for Mike being hostile and resented me. It didn't help that Sarah started rejecting me for Kate. She stopped spending time with me no matter what I did and stopped calling me mom. I told her how hurt I was, how she didn't have to choose. She could have us both. I never had an issue with Sarah and Kate. I only had an issue with being rejected. Sarah told me that while she appreciated me, at the end of the day, Kate was her and Mike's real mom. This crushed me. The final straw was when she didn't invite me to her high school graduation. I told her if she didn't want to be my daughter, then fine. From then on, she would be my husband's kid. Mike went no contact with her as well. 3 months ago, she came over with her fiancé, who we didn't even know existed, to invite us to their wedding. She said she wanted me at the bridal party, but I refused. I told her we hadn't had a relationship in years because of her wishes, and it felt uncomfortable for me to take on that role when I barely knew her now. She said she was sorry. I told her I wasn't interested. She got angry and said I had to be there because, and I quote, "What are people gonna think when both my brother and my dad's wife aren't there?" Gramps, her paternal grandfather, is gonna get angry too. I told her she clearly didn't want me there and only cared about appearances and being on her Gramps' good side because he's rich. I am not coming, nor am I having a relationship with her. She started crying and begging for forgiveness, but it felt like crocodile tears to me. After she left, she kept texting me trying to get me to change my mind. Then on the day of the wedding, she texted that she was gonna leave an empty seat for me and that I was welcome anytime if I changed my mind. I still didn't go. Rob is mad at me saying I ruined his daughter's wedding and made her cry, that all she wanted was me there, and this was a chance to fix our family. Mike, who is also no contact with her, is on my side. Edit. So I would like to clarify a few things. Sarah's relationship with Mike is no contact because she couldn't accept his decision to cut Kate off. At first, Mike didn't support Sarah and Kate, but I sat them both down. I told them they both have very different relationships with Kate. Mike remembers Kate as an addict while Sarah only knows clean Kate, and both of them are entitled to their view of Kate. Mike accepted this and was okay with Sarah/Kate, but Sarah couldn't accept it. She couldn't reconcile addict Kate with clean Kate, so she refused to believe Mike and downplayed a lot of this trauma. Sarah said things like it wasn't that bad, it was not her fault, she was sick, she gave you life, you owe her, etc. By the time Sarah was 19, their relationship became and is no contact. Kate also couldn't accept this and blamed me for Mike not wanting to talk to her. Regarding the wedding, Sarah reached out to me 3 months before the wedding, even though they had been engaged for a year, saying she wanted to come over. We said yes, and she came with her fiancé, who we didn't even know existed. Apparently, they had been together for 3 years. When I say she apologized, I mean she said, "I am sorry you feel that way," which to her was an apology, but to me it's not. She also referred to me as dad's wife, as in what would people say if my dad's wife isn't there? Not even stepmom, dad's wife. She also mentioned her paternal grandfather a lot and how angry he would be. In the 2 months leading up to the wedding, she texted me to change my mind, but all she talked about was the wedding will be ruined, grandpa will be mad, etc. Once the wedding happened, she blocked me everywhere. Then I found out today her fiancé blocked me too, even though I don't follow him. I only messaged him on Instagram because he has a public profile, but I have been blocked. Same thing with Facebook, even though we aren't friends on there. She clearly wasn't genuine in her attempts to reconcile. And even if she was, it doesn't mean I am obligated to respond. She was 18 when she stopped calling me mom, 19 when she went no contact with Mike and doubled down on her decision. A decision she has held on to for 6 years total. She made her choice. Just because she's young doesn't make her entitled to forgiveness or a relationship with me. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You were the one to give the first push in getting Rob to allow Kate to see them. Sarah basically slapped you in the face for everything you did. You even told Sarah you were fine with being just a motherly figure, but she took it further by resenting you? Rob has some audacity to say you ruined the wedding when you were the only one who helped bring up these children, then not getting any support while you were blamed for Mike's choices and rejected. Did Kate go to Sarah's wedding? She and her entire family were invited, and she was also in the bridal party as maid of honor. Not the a-hole. She dropped you quickly enough for her real mom. You know, the one that did literally nothing for the hardest part of her life, then strolled in when it was convenient. She threw away 15 plus years of care like it was nothing. You can't reverse that at a drop of a hat to full a seat at a wedding. Husband is the a-hole for not seeing that she kicked you to the curb without a thought and expects you to be okay with it. Although I can see he's in a difficult position. He is in a difficult position, as both of his kids are not talking to each other, and he was also started to be rejected by Sarah in favor of her stepdad. With Kate and her husband, she has it easier since there is no resentment there. But with her dad, she also has to face me and her brother. So, it's easier for her to spend more time with her mom's side of the family. That's very difficult, and sorry for the position you are all in. I'm surprised, though, that she can't see the position of her brother and her dad. She would be too young to remember her bio mom at her worst, but the others obviously can. It's great she can forgive and move on, but that doesn't remove the past and doesn't change how much you personally have done by stepping up to be her mother. I try to explain to her that Mike simply has a different relationship, but she doesn't accept that. Sorry to say, but she sounds quite self-centered. Hopefully she'll come around. But it's going to have to start with her offering a massive apology to all of you, and to you in particular. Update. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend said I'm the prettiest when I shut up in front of his friends. Original post. My boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 22 female, were invited to a birthday party of his friend. The people at this event were all close friends of his from his contract job, and I barely know these people. Everything was going fine, and my boyfriend was clearly having a great time. But at some point, I was telling a story from my school days when my boyfriend interrupted and said, "You know, OP is prettiest when she shuts up." Everyone laughed, and my boyfriend just kept going, saying, "You guys don't know what I go through. She never stops talking." I swear sometimes I tune her out for my own sanity, or something along those lines. I'm usually really introverted, but when I warm up to someone, I'm the type to talk a lot. So when he said those words, I felt so embarrassed and humiliated, especially since he said it so casually in front of people I don't even know. I tried to brush it off, but I got quiet after that. Later, after the party was over, I told him how hurtful his comment was. He rolled his eyes and said I was being too sensitive, that it was just a joke, and that I was making a big deal out of nothing. He said I embarrassed him by acting cold for the rest of the night, and that I should learn to take a joke. He also told me if I couldn't learn to lighten up, maybe I shouldn't come to events with his friends anymore, even though he was the one who asked me to come in the first place. I feel so awful and confused. Am I in the wrong for getting upset and killing the vibe? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not overreacting. Your boyfriend straight up doesn't like you. If he feels so emboldened to insult you in front of his friends, this behavior will only get worse. OP, why would you want to be with someone who thinks savagely making fun of his girlfriend in front of people she barely knows is a good joke? This was not good-natured teasing. It was quite insulting. Of course your feelings were hurt. Then after all this, he dismisses your feelings? Time to find a new boyfriend. He not only dismissed her feelings, but flipped it around and said she embarrassed him by acting cold in front of his friends. Then basically tells her if she doesn't enjoy his emotional abuse, she shouldn't come to any other get-together with him. She should run, not walk as fast as she can, and let him be someone else's problem. Life is too short to settle. He is an abusive a-hole. I had an ex like that. Never liked it when I spoke out about things. Any man who basically tells you to shut up when you're just telling a story about something is not someone you should be with. Leave him. It only gets worse with the controlling behavior. I had an ex like that too. Kept telling me I spoke too much, so I grew quiet. Then I was told I was not spontaneous enough. I also had an ex like that. I was never allowed to tell stories. After 1 year together, he told me I wasn't allowed to tell people I was a lawyer. I have 2 law degrees, a master's, and I'm a lawyer in 2 countries. He eventually cheated on me and bruised me and held me in a chokehold. These resentful and controlling losers is the kind you stay away from. It will only get worse. Now for the update. I broke up with him. We had been dating for 2 years, and it was the first time he'd acted that way, so I was genuinely conflicted, and I wasn't sure if the joke really flew over my head, but I decided to leave. It takes me a lot of effort to come out of my shell, and I feel uncomfortable staying with someone who doesn't like that. My self-esteem is usually really low, but this time I spoke up for myself for the first time in a long time. We broke up over text. It sucked, since he kept bringing up all his contract job friends over me, again and again. These are people he acquainted with less than 7 months ago, so that alone told me some things. I guess I won't be missing anything since he ended our text with, "Bye IDGAF. Thanks for all the sweet comments. At the time I wrote the post, I was feeling really down and cried a lot. I'm a bit sensitive, so I teared up reading some comments. Thanks again. I hope everyone has a nice day." I foresee him begging you for forgiveness in the near future when he realizes his work friends don't really give a F about him long term. Yup, max 6 months and he'll be back. Like a boomerang. Careful OP, he may hit you. Just remember, don't throw him in open space. Use the trash bin. Honestly, if my coworker said that about his girlfriend in front of me, I would never see him the same way again. He won't be John the pretty good at Excel, or John the trustworthy. He would be John, the stay the heck away, he is not right in the head. Pretty much, yeah. And given the vast majority of people don't want to start conflicts with work colleagues, what'll happen is that they'll just keep their distance. OP's ex is probably unaware that he's not going to be making any work friends, and his contract is unlikely to be extended as word gets around. She said something about only knowing these guys for 7 months. Sounds like he's already cycled through some groups. My ex did something similar. We went everywhere together. I drove him everywhere due to no license or car. I didn't realize he viewed me as a taxi service. I thought he loved being around me like I did him. We ran into the parents of a girl he never dated but liked in high school, years down the road, and he blew up at me in front of them that I was like his shadow and never gave him any space. I just replied, "Oh, I didn't realize a man with no ability to drive himself anywhere needed space." I walked myself to the car and didn't gain more self-respect for years. I had one like that once. I got up early to drive him to work on his day off. He said something rude to me for no reason, and I told him he acted like he couldn't stand me. He said, "I can't stand you." I pulled the car over and told him to walk to work then lol. Then I went home and moved all my stuff out and into a friend's garage and was gone before he walked home from work. I don't date now. It's not worth it dealing with sifting through these people that act like this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for humiliating my sister's boyfriend at a family gathering after what he did to her? My sister, 28 female, has been with her boyfriend, 32 male, for 3 years. She's always been the more reserved, quiet type, while he's loud, extroverted, and sometimes a little over the top. We tolerated him, but recently he crossed a serious line. A few weeks ago, my sister came to me in tears because her boyfriend had pranked her in front of his friends by pretending to propose in an elaborate setup, only to laugh in her face and say, "Just kidding, babe, you really thought I was serious?" His friends all laughed while she stood there, humiliated. She didn't break up with him, which I think she should have, but she was heartbroken. He later gave her some half-hearted excuse about how he actually had a proposal planned soon and this was just a joke gone wrong. Fast forward to this past weekend at our parents' house. We were having a big family dinner, and he was there, acting like nothing happened. While chatting, someone asked when they were getting married, and before my sister could answer, he smirked and said, "Guess she'll just have to wait and see, huh?" That was it for me. I smiled sweetly and said, "Oh, is this like how she had to wait for that hilarious fake proposal in front of all your friends? That was so funny, right? Let's all have a good laugh about it now." The table went dead silent. My sister looked mortified, but my parents looked angry at him. He stammered something about it being a joke, But my dad straight up told him, "That's not a joke, that's cruelty." He left shortly after, and now my sister is mad at me for embarrassing him and making things worse. I told her he embarrassed her first and deserved to be called out. My parents are backing me, but my sister says I've ruined things for her. Am I the a-hole? She should not marry this a-hole even if he asks. He is cruel and a very small man to do that to her. Your sister needs to know she can do so much better. Facts. Dude is a walking red flag. If this is how he treats her before marriage, imagine how bad it'll be later. She deserves way better than a guy who thinks humiliating her is comedy. If she marries this a-hole, she is doing it with eyes wide open. He will mistreat her for his entertainment, and it will get worse. You will likely go no contact because she will complain but not do anything about it. I'm sorry she thinks so little of herself that she puts up with this idiot, and I'm sorry for your family, as it will split you up. Not the a-hole. That guy is a freaking a-hole. Not only are you not the a-hole, I think he provides a target-rich environment. Open fire. Be uncomfortable. Make the tension unbearable. If she marries him, he'll destroy her entire life. Basically happy hunting. If he thinks humiliation is so funny, why is he the one running away when it happens to him? Weird how that works. Not the a-hole. The guy is an a-hole with a twisted sense of humor, to put it kindly. The fact that your sister is introverted only seems to embolden him more. There are serious red flags here. If he was 20, I could maybe see how it was an immature joke in poor taste. But he's in his 30s. He should know better. And if he truly cares about your sister, he would not hang some future proposal over her head and make jokes about it that are hurtful to her. It's just plain mean. Exactly. Dude is pushing 33, not 13. He knows what he's doing. This ain't humor. It's straight up disrespect. And the fact that he keeps pulling this on my quiet, introverted sister? Nah, that's calculated. If this is how he acts before marriage, I don't even want to think about after. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my cousin out after he insulted my brother at a family gathering? So, this weekend, I hosted a family gathering at my place, and let's just say it did not go as planned. The reason I wanted to do it in the first place was because my brother, who is gay, had been planning to come out to the family, and I really wanted to make sure he felt supported. He's been struggling with his identity for a while, and this was a big deal for him. I thought having everyone over at my house would create a comfortable space for him to do it, and that everyone would be there for him. At first, everything was going great. People were eating, talking, laughing. You know, the usual family stuff. But then, my brother finally got the courage to say it. He told everyone he's gay. I could see how nervous he was, but also how relieved. It was a really big moment, and I was so proud of him. But then, things took a turn. My cousin, who's around my age, mid-20s, immediately started making these awful jokes. Instead of offering support or just staying quiet like a normal person, he started cracking jokes like, "Oh, you're one of those people?" And "Gay? Really?" It was bad, but it got worse. He started making racial jokes too, saying stuff like, "Gay people of color are just confused." And I could see my brother shrinking in his seat. It was like he regretted saying anything at all. At first I thought maybe he was just being awkward or didn't know how to react, but then he kept going. He even said something like, "It's not even a big deal. It's just a phase, right?" And that was it. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I told him to cut it out, but he just laughed and kept going. I told him again, "Knock it off. This isn't funny." But nope. He said, "Oh, come on, it's just a joke. Can't you take a joke?" That's when I stood up. My brother was looking down at his plate, clearly hurt, and I just lost it. I told my cousin that he needed to leave right then and there. I told him that if he couldn't show my brother respect in my own house, he could get out. He started yelling, calling me dramatic and saying I was overreacting, but I didn't care. I was done. I told him, "Get your stuff and leave. You're not welcome here anymore." He kept arguing, but at that point, I didn't even listen. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out, still shouting that I was taking it too seriously. The rest of the family was pretty silent after that, and I could tell they were shocked. A few people came over to me and my brother afterward, saying they had my back and were glad I stood up for him. But a couple of others just kind of awkwardly stayed quiet. I'm guessing they didn't want to get involved, or maybe they just didn't know how to handle it. Now I'm second-guessing myself a little. I know I did the right thing by protecting my brother, but I can't help but wonder if maybe I overreacted by kicking him out in front of everyone. Was I too harsh? I just didn't want my brother to feel alone or unsupported, but now I'm worried that I might have caused even more drama. Am I the a-hole for kicking my cousin out after he insulted my brother? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing having your brother's back. Your cousin is the a-hole. Thank you. My cousin's behavior was unacceptable, and I won't tolerate something like this. I will always have my brother's back and support him. If defending your brother from blatant disrespect makes you the bad guy, then so be it. A joke that humiliates someone isn't a joke. It's just cruelty with a weak punchline. Those weren't just some jokes. They were very hurtful hate comments towards my brother. Absolutely unacceptable, and I won't tolerate something like this. Never. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not covering a co-worker's shift when she had babysitter issues? I work 12-hour shifts, mostly nights, but on Saturdays, I work day shifts. My boyfriend Ubers to a park near my job, and I drive there after work so he can take over driving since we live 25 miles away, and I'm extra tired from the schedule change. At 5:20 p.m., my coworker texted me asking if I could cover her shift because her babysitter was having issues. I was busy with my patient and didn't see it until 5:47 p.m. I responded, I don't think I can. I have stuff to do tomorrow that I can't cancel. I had Disneyland tickets for my little sister. When she didn't reply, I followed up with, can you let me know if you're coming in or being covered, please? I have someone picking me up today and don't know if I'll have to cancel with them too. She replied that she was on her way, so I said, okay, thank you, drive safe, and thought that was the end of it. I finish my shift, head to the park where my boyfriend is, and suddenly get hit with this message. Just an FYI, count me out on ever covering a shift for you, especially when you lie about getting picked up today when you clearly had your car. I don't appreciate liars. I had an emergency with my kids and their babysitter, yet I still managed to come to work. If you want to show this text to boss or manager, please feel free to. We can also have a conversation with them in person if you feel attacked. I am not coming at you maliciously. At the end of the day, we are co-workers, and we have to be on the same page for the patient. There will be no ill will or tension on my end, but just as you are not available for coverage, I will no longer be available when you need it. I was upset because we've never had issues in the past. However, I tried to be mature. I replied, excuse me? I'm not lying. Not that I have to explain myself to you, but on Saturdays, my boyfriend Ubers down to pick me up so I don't have to drive home exhausted. I'm not sure where the hostility is coming from. She kept calling me a liar because she saw my car. But here's the thing. This coworker has been late to shift so many times. I've waited up to 4 hours for her to show up because she had things going on with her kids. I've covered her shifts, swapped shifts, and the only times I've called off in 3 years were during the LA fires, when I wasn't sure when or if I'd have to evacuate, and once when I had food poisoning, and even then, I gave over 12 hours notice. So, what would you do in this situation? How should I handle it? Do you think I was in the wrong at all? I personally don't think so, but I'm open to hearing different perspectives. Let me know your thoughts. Don't cover for her in the future. She has clearly stated she is not your friend. It might be a good idea to show the text to your manager, depending on your manager. You are nicer than you needed to be already. She is acting inappropriately aggressively to a coworker. She's not your boss and can't punish you for not covering for her. The screenshots have already been sent to him, but I won't hear anything until Wednesday. If it was me being called a liar, I would also make sure to be extra honest with the boss about all the times she has failed to show up on time and I have had to cover her butt. But that's me, and I have been called petty. Ignore it. She needs your help far more often than you need hers. She'll come back crawling in due course if you let her. Let's hope that isn't the case anytime soon, because it'll be a big fat no. Update. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend because I had a bad feeling about his best friend and him and decided to avoid drama? My 22 female was always a really chill person. I've always gotten along with everyone, and I really appreciate my mental peace. I hate unnecessary drama. I've been dating Zach for 3 years. He's always had his best friend, Mia, who was studying in another country. They always talked via text or video call. That never bothered me at all because I also have male friends. Mia was always disinterested when Zach was on video calls with me by his side, and I wasn't interested in her either, to be honest. But Zach wanted us to be friends, so I tried. Mia listens to the same music as me, so once, 3 years ago, I texted her on WhatsApp to try to have a friendly conversation. But she saw the message, never answered me, and blocked my number. I thought, what a rude bitch. But I let it go and never talked about it to Zach, so I wouldn't cause trouble. I just thought that maybe she didn't want to make friends, and I respect that. Not long ago, she returned to the country, now to stay and live here again. Zach asked me if she could stay in our apartment, and I said no, I don't feel comfortable with other people staying there. Apparently, Zach told her that I was the one who refused to let her stay with us, because Mia has been doing everything to criticize me since that day. She has criticized my work, my studies, my hair, my clothes, etc. Zach always says that's just how Mia is, and that I should be her friend because she's really funny, her. Many times she's tried to make me jealous with comments like, "You know that I used to take baths with Zach when we were little kids?" And she would get upset when I just said, "All right," at those random comments. Because the heck, why should I be jealous of that? She sits on Zach's lap. He doesn't say anything to her about that, even though he knows I don't like it. He cuddles with her every time they have the chance. They whisper to each other, and they go out together sometimes. I obviously can't help but think that at any moment, I will come back to the apartment and she will be wearing one of his shirts. And I don't want to deal with that, to be honest. The worst thing is that Zach really seems to like seeing me jealous. When I tell him something is bothering me, he laughs, saying, "Oh, you're jelly," and stuff like that without taking me seriously. It's pretty annoying to know that he likes me to feel that way, and Mia has been really irritable lately, like she's competing with me. It feels like they're trying to make a novella with me. She always tries to make me jealous with stupid things, like when she said she knows Zach's favorite sushi and I don't, to which I replied, "Then buy sushi for everyone, because I don't care at all." I've told Zach on several occasions that his friend is an idiot, and he just says Mia is like that, and I should just ignore her comments. But honestly, I don't have the energy to deal with that girl and not beat her up at the end of the month. So I told Zach, I'm going to move out, and it's better to give ourselves some time. I haven't moved yet, so he's been coming to my room to tell me that I'm letting my insecurities speak for me, and that he doesn't feel anything for Mia. I told him I'm not insecure. I just want to protect my mental peace and avoid drama. He got angry, saying I should fight for him and not be so apathetic. He said that if I loved him, I would be fighting for him. But I have always had a philosophy that if someone wants to cheat on you, they will do it even if you say no. I don't know if I'm being too cold about this, but I'm not the kind of person who enjoys drama. I was always the cold type of person. I hate it, and I know Zach and Mia are enjoying this love triangle. I really care about Zach, and we had a great relationship, but I care much more about my mental health. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. If he isn't fighting for you, why should you fight for him? Yes, if he loved her, he would respect reasonable boundaries and ask his friend to take a step back when she crosses them. He clearly is enjoying having two women be jealous and fight over him enough to actually be super vocal about enjoying jealously, which most men who enjoy this situation are not stupid enough to do. It seems like he enjoys the jealousy so much, he would go out of his way to create situations that would promote it, probably edging closer and closer to cheating. Seriously, I can't believe you won't fight for me when other women sit on my lap. Don't you know you should strip your clothes off and offer a to win my attention back? Him, essentially. You should never have to fight for the respect or attention of your partner. You should have started running when you found out they cuddle and sit on each other's laps, WTF. I know. I let that go because according to Zach, he and Mia are like siblings. I also have brothers, and I don't do those things with them, but Zach hugs a lot with his sisters, so I thought it was a normal thing in his family. But then it started to make me uncomfortable, and he didn't care. Now I feel dumb for letting that go, lol. Mini update. I haven't moved out yet because we pay rent together. The whole month of the rent is already paid by me because he couldn't come up with the money for this month, but he's supposed to pay for the next month. I don't have any problem with this. He didn't take advantage of me or anything. Something happened and he ran out of money for rent. Nothing shady about it. Plus, I have to wait for my parents to fix my room again. So for now, I have to leave my things here. At the beginning of the year, the lease was updated, so I spent a lot of money on that, and the rent went up by 40%. So it's money wasted now. I'm pretty sad about that since my father was the one who helped me pay for my part of the expenses for that apartment. Now for the full update. I discovered Mia was sleeping with Zach. She's expecting his baby, and they kicked me out of the apartment. But I'm pregnant too. Nah, that didn't happen. I spoke with Zach to ask him if we could have a good coexistence, because I'm going to stay a few more months here. After talking a bit with him and my father, we came to the conclusion that it's better for both of us to continue living together in a healthy way. We both have our own bedrooms after all. He promised me that he wouldn't enter my bedroom without an invitation and apologized for doing that before. There are many reasons why we should continue to live together at least until the lease expires, but I'm not going to bore everyone with those reasons. Most of them are because of money and how expensive the bus would be to get from my home to work and college every day if I went back to my parents' house. We both cried, and I asked Zach what he expected to happen when I saw him treat Mia that way. He admitted that he likes the way I look when I'm upset. He said it's a self-esteem issue he has, but he needs me to show him all the time that I love him. And the fact that I never reacted affected him a lot. Honestly, he's attractive. I know he's always been pretty conceited, but I used to think that was just how he was. Now I see that it's actually a problem he has. Narcissism. Zach said that when he sees I don't get jealous in the way he likes, he feels annoyed and even more insecure because he thinks I don't love him, since he always shows me when he's jealous. He said he doesn't have feelings for Mia at all, but he likes to see my face when she talks to me that way. Zach knows Mia likes him, but he said she's like that with all her male friends too. At first he thought it was funny to see my annoyed face, but then it started to bother him that I never reacted. I did react, but by talking like an adult. He probably wanted me to yell and pull her hair. The worst part? I was 100% going to do it if she kept behaving that way. That's why I decided to cut off the relationship before I reacted like that. Zach even mentioned other times he wanted me to be jealous about other girls, but honestly, I had no idea he did that. I think if someone is going to cheat on you, they're going to do it even if you tell them not to. I'm not going to fight for a penis. I told him he's a weird idiot and that his insecurity ruined our relationship. I had that thought of, did I really sleep with this person? And now I want the earth to swallow me. He has always been very kind, and we had a beautiful relationship. But I just can't forget that behavior, and the fact that he made me feel bad about Mia. Our conversation was pretty calm after that. Zach admitted that he ruined our relationship, and I made it clear to him that we won't be a couple again. I'm a little uncomfortable, but surely as the days go by we can be friends, or at least be civil with each other. At the end of the day, we both want different things in a relationship. He wants a passionate woman who feels things just as intensely as he does, his words, and I want a mature and focused man to live in peace with. I think I'm too cold for him, and he's looking for another kind of woman. Anyway, just know that, no, I'm not going to be in a relationship with Zach again. That boat has already sailed. For now, I just want to try to make this coexistence work, since we both know that it's what's convenient for us, and at least on my part, I'm not going to screw it up. Zach is a moron. He will absolutely sleep with Mia while OP is still living there to get a reaction. OP Gray rock your ex. He's not going to get any reaction anyway. If they do, I hope it's in his room so I can watch TV in peace. Not that you owe Mia anything, but I definitely warn her that you broke up with Zach, and it turns out Zach used girls to make you jealous because he thought it proved that you loved him. That he was using her and others, and playing with their emotions, seeming interested, just to get a reaction out of you. That he's toxic AF, insecure AF. And well, she's welcome to him, but she should realize both he'll do that to her and he was using her. So do what she wants with that information. Zach is a creep. He's saying it's insecurity, but it seems more like, well, he said he likes to see you upset. Some people get off on hurting their partners and manipulating them to try harder because they think they are losing their partner. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach's excuse of insecurity is just a manipulative way to make him sound pathetic rather than more malicious in his actions. Mia knows. I think they both just like the attention. Mia knows he's flirting with her to make you jealous, but does she know he doesn't like her, rather than she thinks he likes her and just doesn't care it ticks you off? For sure if she goes along with it. She's a freaking a-hole who likes the attention. Zach told me he made it clear to Mia that he's not going to sleep with her, but he also said that Mia is flirtatious with everyone. And he kind of justified her behavior. So yeah, according to Zach, Mia knows everything. But that's what Zach said, so who knows if it's true or not. For my part, they can both buzz off, and I don't plan on talking to Mia again. Next story. Am I the a-hole exposing my wife's cheating and son born out of wedlock with another man? My wife and I are in the process of getting divorced, and it's taking ages. She didn't work, so I have to pay heavy alimony. She has a 3-year-old son, and the son clearly doesn't look like me. I found her chats with another man, so I got a private DNA test, and he isn't my son. It was a hard punch to the gut, but I am still forced to pay for the kid until he finishes college. 50% of my salary goes to her and child support. I loved him, but this betrayal affected my mental health, and I cut them both off. I'm paying maintenance to both. I was cheated. I was being painted as the bad person everywhere, so I posted about it on my social media with a report. It went viral, and she is being shamed by the masses. If I can't save myself financially, I'll make sure her reputation goes down the gutter. If I'm going to be ruined financially and mentally, I will ruin her reputation and future options. Her family and she are begging me to take it down, but I won't. They're also begging me to forgive her. No forgiveness from me. Not after she filed fake cases on me, including DV when I never raised a hand on her. My sister is in Dubai, and she filed a case on her. My dad had a liver transplant, and she filed DV cases on him, and my mother while they were in the hospital. So yeah, she is a horrible human being, and misused the law meant for actual victims. They say I raised the kid, but I can't see him as my child anymore, and my anger takes over when he is near me. I know I will be forced to pay for him for the next 2 decades, which makes me bitter. Because in our country, even if the wife cheats and has a kid with another man, the husband is automatically assumed to be the legal father. Luckily, before all this, I transferred my assets to my mom's name and will make sure she and her son get nothing if I die. After the divorce is over, I will never marry. I'll adopt orphans and raise them, but not him. Because at least in that case, I will have the option to adopt. Edit. I have clearly said it's the law. People keep asking, why can't you hire a lawyer and get it changed? I have clearly explained, it is the law and no lawyer can change that. Not the a-hole. Have you thought about moving to another country to avoid having to pay anything? Because that's what I would do. I would sooner live in a hut across the world than pay a dime to a cheating ex-wife and son that isn't mine. I am in late 30s, and it is not easy to restart a career in other land. My parents are old and they also need me, so it is not an option for me. Sorry, why are you forced to pay for child support with certifiable DNA evidence you're not related? Just wondering. DNA tests are not valid here anymore. Laws are stone age. I am already facing many fake cases by her. This is the law of land. I am powerless. Last story. Am I the a-hole for considering ending my relationship because my partner's kids clearly don't like me or want me around? I, 31 female, started dating Mark, 34 male, 3 years ago. Mark is a single dad to a 14-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter. The mother of Mark's children died 11.5 years ago. He dated very little after her death before we met, but had dated some. I was his first relationship after the passing of his late partner. As a couple, we work well together and share a lot of the same values and goals in life. We can have fun together, but have also been able to discuss the serious stuff. I get along well with his family, but not with his kids. From the start, about 2 years now, they have been cold and unwelcoming. Mark has spoken to them. He told me they're in therapy, and he has encouraged them to give me a chance. But they can't hide the fact that they don't want me around. We have gone slow and have tried to find ways to ease the tension and show I'm not a bad person or here to take their dad from them or replace their mom. Nothing works. We never tried therapy together, but I don't even live with them, and I'm not sure how willing they would be to speak in any therapy sessions with me. My partner has spoken to a therapist and has done some therapy with his kids and implemented the suggestions given, but those methods were a waste of time. Nothing changed. I know these things take time. I don't expect sunshine and rainbows overnight. But the more time we spend together, the more I feel his kids' dislike of me. Even when I'm just there, not trying to engage and simply existing in the same house as them, the tension can be felt. They ignore me. They won't even look at me, yet they still radiate tension. I know my partner's family has talked to the kids about giving me a chance. I don't know if that helps or makes it worse. I feel like we're facing the reality that they might never accept me or like me. And now I'm considering ending this relationship because I want to be a mom, and I don't want to wait too long. And even if I waited until his kids were out of the house, then how would that be fair? To have kids who'd have half-siblings who refuse to have anything to do with them or won't even speak to their mom. My partner and I talked about it. He said he'll understand if it's too much. We're taking some time so I can think. Since then, his sister reached out to me after I didn't show up to a couple of things and asked if everything was okay. She told me she hoped she wasn't intruding too much, but she wanted me to know how happy I make her brother and how nicely I fit with the family. She understands the kids aren't too welcoming, but it would be such a shame for me to walk away. It made me feel bad because I know my partner is a good guy and his family has been amazing. But his kids will always be his kids. And I don't know if I could let us come between them, or if I could handle living with them always disliking me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Actually, this is quite an eye-opener. The OP's concerns for her happiness, with a touch of foresight, and the well-being of her future children are commendable, especially when faced with such hostility from her stepkids. Not blaming really, not the a-hole. It's sensible to consider the needs of all involved in a new relationship, even if it's tough love. This is or will be a super unpopular comment, but the kids, especially the oldest, are kinda sorta a-holes. The youngest one will follow the oldest's lead, especially about a newcomer. 14 is old enough to understand that after 2 years, and they still don't live together, she isn't coming to replace their mother. She's additional support, etc. I can totally understand their behavior for the first year, but unless OP has done something intentionally or unintentionally unforgivable/offensive to the kids, their hostility isn't acceptable. If after 2 years you're intentionally hostile in your teens to someone that hasn't done anything wrong but love your parent, then you're an a-hole. The kid's mother died almost 12 years ago when they were babies, and they still have a problem? It's impossible to say what the real issue is, but I doubt it's an am I the a-hole case at all. I notice your partner's family wants you to stay, at least the sister does. So these kids might just be jerks. Are they? How do they treat other people? Do they just flat out dislike you, and it has nothing to do with replacing the mother who died that they don't even remember? The kids are good around other people. They love their family, have friends, are respectful and friendly to others. They treat strangers better than me, honestly. They dislike me, but there have been comments about their mom in the last 2 years. It's why I tried to reassure them. They don't remember her, but they know about her and she was talked about with them. She still is.